So let's see how this works. This is going to be interesting. The idea has been interesting. I've been moving away from it, but reading an actual book, we'll see how long it sticks if we're enjoying ourselves. So I would want your opinions in a couple of days as well, if you watch this for a couple of times and see how you like it. Just reading a fucking book. Alright. Colgate Untitled adds the quote, "That's the sort of place this is, Jen. A lot of sexy people not doing much work and having affairs." Sounds like a nice place, I suppose. Alright, Crime and Punishment by... Actually, we can do this. And we can also do game just chatting. Colgate Untitled added another quote. "I can see why she divorced. She's very divorceable." Nice. "As soon as you meet her, you can't wait to take her to court to get rid of her." Nice. Banana Waffle Monkey tried to add a quote, but I think... No, yeah, it did work. I had quote, "Everything was beautiful and nothing hurt." You know what? I need to do another thing here. We move this over here. We go over here. Nope, that's not it. That's it. We move it out of the way and we pop it out. There we go. Current mood. That's probably fine. Nothing hurt. Colgate Untitled adds another quote. They should call dates "Spend some time with a big fat loser." Well, that's rude. That's not what a date is at all. Slaughterhouse 5? I don't get it. Alright. So, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky. Translated by Constance Garnett. Alright, part 1. Translation preface. Alright. Translator's preface. Preface. A few words. Is the size big enough? Should I make it bigger? A few words about Dostoevsky himself may help the English reader to understand his work. Nice. Thanks. Dostoevsky was the son of a doctor. His parents were hard-working and deeply religious people, but so poor that they lived with their 5 children in only 2 rooms. The father and mother spent their evenings in reading aloud to their children, generally from a book of a serious character. Though always sickly and delicate, Dostoevsky came out 3rd of the final examination of the Petersburg School of Engineering. There he had already begun his first work, Poor Folk. This story was published by the poet Nekrasov in his review and was received with acclamations. The shy, unknown youth found himself instantly something of a celebrity. A brilliant and successful career seemed to open before him. Those hopes were soon dashed. In 1849, he was arrested. Oh, that's a long... Though neither by temperament nor conviction Though neither by temperament nor conviction of a revolutionist, Dostoevsky was one of the little group of young men who met together and read Fourier and Proudhon. Proudhon? I have no idea who those are. He was accused of taking part in conversations against the censorship. Oh, wow. Of reading a letter from Belinsky to Gogol, and of knowing of the intention to set up a printing press. Wow. Those things were not allowed, eh? That's kind of fucked up. Under Nicholas I, that stern and just man, as Maurice Byron called him, this was enough, and he was condemned to death. Wow. After 8 months of imprisonment, he was, with 21 others, taken out to the Semyonsky Square. Semyon, hey? We've seen that name before. He was taken there to be shot. Writing to his brother Mikhail, Dostoevsky says they snapped words over our heads, and they made us put on the white shirts worn by persons condemned to death. Thereupon we were bound in threes to stakes to suffer execution. Being the third in the row, I concluded I had only a few minutes of life before me. That is an experience, right? That's gotta be an experience. I thought of you and your dear ones, and I contrived to kiss Plechikev and Durov. I'm terrible at these Russian names. I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna embrace it and be terrible. Who were next to me and bid them farewell. Suddenly the troops beat a tattoo. I think tattoo meant something differently. We were unbound, brought back upon the scaffold, and informed that His Majesty had spared our lives. The sentence was commuted to hard labor. Oof, wow. Colgate adds the quote, "Just become strong." Right? Right. Blasphemous says, "I'm surprised Cider is reading this in a browser." That's what I said, right? Blasphemous. I have not prepared. I had not prepared. I might prepare for it for tomorrow. But actually, I don't mind reading it in the browser, actually. So far, it works fine. Maybe should... Yeah, I could just download it and read it in the terminal. Actually, I could read it in Vim, and it would just remember where I was in the thing. I like that. But yeah. I'll think about it. Reading it in Vim is probably a good idea. Alright. This was annoying. Ooh, that's another thing we can add to the chat. Skip the song. That's a good thing to add to the chat, right? Colgate adds another quote. If he was just a little stronger, he would have won. It wasn't fair for him. Oh man, you really did enjoy adding these quotes, eh? Colgate on tap. Watch carefully. Witness the moment the monster is victorious. Only you can protect yourself now. Another quote. Project Gutenberg Squad, says Banana Waffle Monkey. Yes, indeed. He's adding another quote. I'm gonna die. There's no way out. I lost because of that ugly brat. Damn it. Place like this. God, I want a Coke. I said I want to fight a monster class hero. Who said anything about fighting a monster? I haven't even started yet. It's over. Lasman says, yes, good idea. I'm thinking about the Vim. Reading it in Vim instead is a good idea. Yeah, probably is a good idea. Colgatino says, the difference in your Oh, man. You know I'm gonna erase all of these, Colgatino, right? Just erase all of them. You're flooding the quotes. There's just gonna be random anime quotes that I'm just gonna filter out. I'm gonna censor all your quotes. Spend some effort at least, instead of just putting all of them in. Yeah. Spend some effort. Like, quality over quantity by this point. Colgatino, eh? And Waffle Monkey says a quote. Dear Sir, stroke Madam, we read that just recently. Ah, there's a cooldown. Yes, there is a cooldown. Add quote. There is no cooldown on the quotes. Liar. Oh. Right. Colgatino says it takes effort to spend effort. Alright, yeah, it does. Quality though. Right? Quality. I mean, I like the quantity, and I'm grateful, Colgatino. I am grateful. But it feels like the quality has degraded over time. It started out with great fucking quality, but over time it has degraded quite a bit. And we're reaching this point where I'm considering filtering them out, right? I suppose that's fine as well. We'll see though. Actually, one thing I want to add is here. Whoops. Want to add song, something like that. That seems like a good thing to have, especially if this is gonna work out. Reading a book. If I'm gonna enjoying this, then skipping songs would be a good thing to have. Lasmus says the quote, we have no compassion and we ask no compassion from you. When our turn comes, we shall make no excuses for the terror. That was a good one, right? That's some nice quality. Banana Waffle Mike says, and it's a global cooldown too. Yes, it's a global cooldown. Lasmus says, add quote limit per user per day to the bot. Oh, that's a good idea. Enforce quality. Like you can only add 5 quotes a day or something like that. 10 quotes a day? Oh, look at that. Quote 42. That might be an idea. At least, like, maybe not per day, but per hour. I could do something like that. Banana Waffle Monkey says, wait, does it show up at 42 on your end, ass? No, I'm kinda kidding. In my mind, there's an equal sign between the two. The actual quote was, what is the ultimate question for... No, oh. Sorry, I didn't read the whole thing. It's 6 multiplied by 9. It's what it says. I didn't read it. I just saw 42, and then the actual quote was, "What is the ultimate question for the ultimate answer?" And that is what you get if you multiply 6 by 9. 42. All right, hard labor. Just minutes away from getting hung, eh? That's interesting. That makes... I understand. It makes a lot of sense why this became so... Why he spent a lot of time on this, and why it became so popular. Right? A good author, like an author that went popular, people liked his style immediately. And then... He took like the worst end, lived through the worst end of Crime and Punishment, and writes a book about it. One of the prisoners, Grigory, went mad as soon as he was untied and never regained his sanity. Well, that depends on what they defined as sanity, right? The intense suffering of this... You know what? No, let's... I want to look into it. Like, I like the Vim idea more and more, but I'll fix that for tomorrow then, instead. Downloading it, and if stuff needs to get fixed, I'll fix that tomorrow. Or this afternoon. The intense suffering of this experience left a lasting stamp on Dostoevsky's mind. No shit it did. Though his religious temper led him in the end to accept every suffering with resignation and to regard it as a blessing. In his own case, he constantly recurs to the subject in his writings. He describes the awful agony of the condemned man and insists on the cruelty of inflicting such torture. Wait, with resignation and to regard it as a blessing. Wow. Well, it was a teaching experience, I suppose, but Banana Waffle Monkey says yikes, right? Yikes. Then followed 4 years of penal servitude, spent in the company of common criminals in Siberia, where he began the Dead House, and some years of service in a disciplinary battalion. He had shown signs of some obscure nervous disease before his arrest, and this now developed into violent attacks of epilepsy. He had shown signs of some obscure nervous disease, alright. Epilepsy, from which he suffered for the rest of his life. The fits occurred 3 or 4 times a year, and were more frequent in periods of great strain. In 1859, he was allowed to return to Russia. He started a journal, Vremya, which was forbidden by the censorship through a He started a journal, which was forbidden by the censorship through a misunderstanding. Wait, was his journal forbidden, or was just journals forbidden? Confusing. Lasma says, also install a dictionary so you can look up the word if you're not sure. Ooh, I like that. Lasma says, I don't like how Cider is reading multiple sentences without analyzing each one. We've got a few sentences to go through. And this is just history, right? This is just history. In 1846, he lost his first wife and his brother Mikhail. Oh, ouch. He was in terrible poverty, yet he took upon himself the payment of his brother's debts. That's so fucked up. He dies in debts, and the debts still have to be paid. He started another journal. Actually, that's interesting. It's gotta be that way, right? Otherwise, when I'm getting to the end of my life, I'll take out huge fucking loans. And just get rid of the money as fast as possible. That's actually a very good idea when you get super fucking old. It depends on the laws, right? But if the debts are just scratched, you could just do that, right? When you're getting old and dying and just fiddle around, there's probably some loopholes, right? Taking loans and just making sure that the stuff goes to the family. No, there's probably systems in place for that. Yeah. Payment of brothers' debts. There's probably systems like that. In place. Banana Waffle Monkey says, as an English major, I do as little pre-reading as possible. Rereading? What does that mean? Pre-reading? Colgate Untitled says, I don't like it either. More analyzing, the stream Raccoon. I mean, so far there has been no philosophizing, right? We're just learning his history, and it all makes sense, right? The context of the book. We're just getting the context of the book. Oh, that's what you mean. As an English major, you do as little pre-reading as possible, and this is the pre-reading. Right. Death of the author becomes more difficult with this pre-reading, I suppose. Lessman says, I would not be surprised if there was a specific command line interface tool for Project Gutenberg. And then he says, this is sexy, it lets you use Dict with it. There are always semantics, says Colgate Tap. Yeah, there are always semantics. Wait, what's this? Oh. What is this? Oh, command line interface ebook reader. This is just a fork of my own EPR. Does EPR? Oh, that's just another one with these extra features. Ported formats. Reading progress percentage. Bookmarks. Ooh, I like that. External dictionary integration. SDCV. Wait. This is not Dict-D though. Dict-TD, I mean. It says Dict-T, not Dict-TD. Is there a difference? Inline formats for bold and italic. Dependent on terminal and font capability. Text-to-speech. I'm doing that, that's fine. Double spread. I'll look into that. If I got time, I've got plenty of stuff to do. We'll see what stuff are the stuff that gets done and does not get done. We'll see, we'll see. Alright, he started another journal, the Epoch, within a few months, who was also prohibited. Yeah, right. Journal is not like a personal journal. It's like a blog from the time, right? A magazine. Epoch, which within a few months was also prohibited. He was weighed down by debt. His brother's family was dependent on him. He was forced to write at heartbreaking speed and is said never to have corrected his work. The later years of his life were much softened by the tenderness and devotion of his second wife. Oh, good morning, Crappy Chloe. Nice to see you again. How are you doing? In June 1880, he made his famous speech at the unveiling of the monument of Pushkin in Moscow, and it was received with extraordinary demonstrations of love and honor. A few months later, Dostoevsky died. He was followed to the grave by a vast multitude of mourners who gave the hapless man the funeral of a king. He is still probably the most widely read writer in Russia. In the words of a Russian critic who seeks to explain the feeling inspired by Dostoevsky, he was one of ourselves, a man of our blood and our bone, but one who has suffered and has seen so much more deeply than we have. His insight impresses us as wisdom. That wisdom of the heart which we seek, that we may learn from how to live. All right. All his other gifts came to him from nature, This he won for himself, and through it he became great. Alright. Rasmus says, lol, I love that name. Crappy Chloe? Or one of these names? Crappy Chloe says, school's been awful this week, but I got through it. Oh? Good job. Good job getting through it, yeah? Indeed. And now it's over. Very nice. Banana Waffle Monkey says, finals week 2, I imagine. Yeah. Can imagine that. Crime and Punishment, Part 1, Chapter 1. Alright. On an exceptionally hot evening in early July, a young man came out of the garret in which he lodged. Alright, he came out on the garret in which he lodged in S Place and walked slowly, as though in hesitation, towards K-Bridge. Oh, he's terrible at names as well. S Place, K-Bridge. He was lodged in S Place and K-Bridge. He just skipped, right? A young man doesn't have a name. It's just the young man, eh? Can you make the text bigger? Yes. This okay? Banana Waffle Monkey says, rule of thumb I learned when I was in high school. When a character doesn't have a name, they're everyone. Yeah, that was the point, right? The character is an everyman. That's what this person said. A young man. Well, it's all the young men. It's not everybody, it's just all the young men. Yes, this is more readable. Alright. He had successfully avoided meeting his landlady on the staircase. His garret. This is where the integration of the dictionary is a good idea. I'm guessing like room. His garret was under the roof of a high 5-storied house and was more like a cupboard than a room. Yep, there we go, it was a room. The landlady, who provided him with garret, dinners, and attendance, lived on the floor below, and every time he went out he was obliged to pass her kitchen, the door of which invariably stood open. And each time he passed, the young man had a sick, frightening feeling, which made him scowl and feel ashamed. He was hopelessly in debt to this landlady, and he was afraid of meeting her. Yep, that's what happens if you're in debt, right? That sucks, and you try to just get out. This was not because he was cowardly and abject, quite the contrary. But for some time past, he had been in an overstrained, irritable condition, verging on hypochondria. I'm thinking hypochondria meant something else earlier on. He had been so completely absorbed in himself and isolated from his fellows that he dreaded meeting not only his landlady, but anyone at all. Sounds more like verging on depression. He was crushed by poverty, but the anxieties of his position had of late ceased to weigh upon him. Alright. He had given up tending to matters of practical importance. He had lost all desire to do so. Sounds a lot like depression. Nothing that any landlady could do had a real terror for him. But to be stopped on the stairs, to be forced to listen to her trivial, irrelevant gossip, to pestering demands for payment, threats and complaints, and to rack his brains for excuses, to prevaricate, to lie. No, rather than that, he would creep down the stairs like a cat and slip out unseen. Yeah. Oh, Banana Waffle Monkey says he needs a girlfriend, right? Oh, you depressed? Time to get a girlfriend. Ooh. This evening, however, on coming out into the street, he became acutely aware of his fears. I want to attempt a thing like that, and I am afraid by these trifles. Fuck, I don't have support for cursive stuff. That's gonna be annoying to fix. Gotta fix that. Nah, it's probably fine. Alright. And am frightened by these trifles. He thought with an odd smile. Yes. All is in a man's hands, and he lets it all slip from cowardice. That's an axiom. Wait, I didn't get this part. Alright. I want to attempt a thing like that. Like what? And I am frightened by these trifles, he thought with an odd smile. Yes. All is in a man's hands, and he lets it all slip from cowardice. That's an axiom. What is? Right, I'm getting confused. Like what? Yes, all's in a man's hands. Yeah, everything is in your own hands, right? It's my responsibility, and a man lets it all slip from cowardice. That's an axiom. Right, everything that you're supposed to do, you leave cowardice behind. That's an axiom. Starting out point. Don't be a coward. Is that what he's saying? Just don't be a coward? Lasmus says, are you also consider reading Albert Camus, The Stranger? Yeah, definitely. And Nietzsche, the Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Definitely considering reading those. It kind of depends though, right? Start out with something big. It depends on how it feels reading the books, right? We're just getting started. Do I need like the gamey and the pictures, or is the text just enough for having fun? So far, I'm enjoying myself. It would be interesting to know that what is men most afraid of. What is men most afraid of? Death? I don't know. Banana Waffle Monkey says Stranger? Wait, is that the original title? Banana Waffle Monkey? Or is it something like that, yeah? Alright. Last one says philosophy would be good, creates discussion. So you never finish reading. I mean, this is philosophy and politics as well, right? But yeah, I've been thinking of just spending more time on Wikipedia and more time reading like articles and like the thing you gave me. Where is that? Like stuff from here, just reading shorter stuff, right? Stuff like this rather than reading a book. But we'll see how it goes with the book first. What are you most afraid of? I don't even know what I'm most afraid of. People. Responsibility. Pain. Now, there we go. Pain. I'm most afraid of pain. All types of pain. Like, the worse the pain, the more afraid of it I am. Yeah. That's my thing. Most afraid of pain. Taking a new step, uttering a new word is what they fear most. Isn't that one dot too many? But I am talking too much. It is because I chatter that I do nothing. Or perhaps it is that I chatter because I do nothing. I do a lot of chattering, yeah. But chattering is something. Semantics. Chattering is something. But I get the point. Not being productive. Chattering is often considered not being productive. I've learned to chatter this last month, lying for days together in my den of thinking of Jack the Giant Killer. Why am I going there now? Am I capable of that? Is that serious? It is not serious at all. It's simply a fantasy to amuse myself, a plaything. Yes, maybe it's a plaything. Alright, so he's fantasizing about doing something. I'm guessing something illegal. He's fantasizing about doing crime. And he's talking himself into it. He's talking himself into do something that he's scared to do, right? Then what about this last part? Lying for days in my den thinking of Jack the Giant Killer. Why am I going there now? Am I capable of that? Is that serious? It is not serious at all. It's simply a fantasy to amuse myself, a plaything. Blasphemous says, let's hold a seminar on privacy. Privacy. Kappa? I mean, that word means many different things. For me, like most of what we're doing here when we're talking about stuff are very comparable to seminars. So if you want to hold a seminar on privacy, go on. Go ahead. Anything specific? Actually, curious. Let me know. Yeah, that dictionary thing, I love that. A group of advanced students studying under a professor, with each doing original research and all exchanging results through reports and discussion. All right, I have my definition where my mind was similar but way more lenient. The seminar was just a meeting where you have, like, the original research is not needed, for example. It's just everybody coming in with their own perspectives and people talking together in, like, report and discuss our perspectives and learning from each other. Yeah. Discussions, right? But on off mic it says, shake my head. He can talk himself into a crime, but not talking to a cute lady. Was the landlady cute? I don't remember. Oh, no, right. He needs to get a girlfriend. That's the point. He can't talk himself into getting a girlfriend. Right. Well, you know what it is, right? You get depressed? Get a girlfriend. No. Get depressed? Do some crime. Crime. We learned that from... Yeah, that was a theme in Night in the Woods, eh? Crime. Just do crime and everything will turn out alright. The heat in the street was terrible. And the airlessness. Airlessness? Oh, difficult to breathe, eh? The bustle and the plaster, scaffolding, bricks and dust all about him, and that special Petersburg stench, so familiar to all who are unable to get out of the town in summer, all worked painfully upon the young man's already overwrought nerves. Eels, added the quote. Eels, May. Eels. The insufferable stench from the pothouses, which are particularly numerous in that part of the town, and pothouses, I would have guessed bathrooms, but and the drunken men whom he met continually, although it was working day, completed a revolting misery of the picture, an expression of the profundest disgust gleamed for a moment in the young man's refined face. He was, by the way, exceptionally handsome, above the average in height, slim, well-built, with beautiful dark eyes and dark brown hair. So he's not everyone, then. Well, everyone maybe thinks of themselves that way. No, that's not how people think of themselves. They just think about their flaws, right? That's a bias we have. The tendency is to ask, do I look fat in this thing? Rather than, do this thing highlight my, I don't know, thinness? I don't know. That's interesting, right? In all the movies and TVs and shows and social media and all that stuff nowadays, we tend to like portray the characters as beautiful, right? Even the ugly characters are actually kind of, they're not really that ugly. The Hollywoodification it's called. But I wonder, isn't that the way in books as well? They are handsome. We prefer reading about handsome people or beautiful people rather than just ugly people. Right? The looks matters still in just literature. That's interesting. Lasma says, does this make my butt look big? No? Are you saying that I have a flat ass? How things have changed, right? That just changed. That's so weird. That how that changed? Getting old. It will happen to you. Banana Wolf Monkey says, did that happen to you? At Banana Wolf, at Blasphemous. I almost did it again. My mother is like that. It actually happened to me once. I remember it distinctly. She was gonna call my name. So she called my father's name, my brother's name, my two dogs' names, and then my name. Before figuring out what my name was. She just went through the list, right? From top to bottom. The dogs' names before mine. Two of them. Two dogs' names before actually arriving at my name. And I mean, it sucks, but yeah, that's where I get it from. Terrible with names. Banana Wolf Monkey says, has it happened to people you know? Not that I'm aware. Maybe it's just memes. Or it was just all that. It was just that one song. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Or whatever the song is. I don't like big butts. I don't like the I'm not gonna lie. Like, why do you say that? It's... If you were gonna lie, you like, oh, I'm gonna lie now. That's not a thing someone says. Oh, I'm gonna lie now. Yeah, it implies that lying is the norm, and that's increasing the norm. Saying it, I'm not gonna lie, builds the norm, builds the... What the fuck is it called again? Oh man, I already forget the name of the thing. The sphere of discourse. The area of discourse. Overton? The Overton window. The Overton window moves towards people lying. If people start saying I'm not gonna lie, right? It moves the Overton towards lying is where we should be. Lasman says big butts used to be bad, now they want to have giant butts. Well, they used to be bad, but before that they were good. They wanted to have big butts. Right? It goes in cycles, Blasphemous. That's fashion for you. It goes in cycles. Fashion goes in cycles. Banana Waffle Monkey says, it is I cannot lie. Who is they, though? They. Right? They. Westernized women on social media. Some of them, not all of them. Colgate Dinotap say, so big butts are good now? Actually, we can make a statistical analysis. How many of the people who like butts here, if you like butts, do you prefer, well, no, let's put it like that. Do you prefer your butts big or small? Personally, I'm for small, so that's 100% small by statistically right now. Lesman says, I think it looks strange to have a giant butt and skinny waist. That's not an answer to the question. But I mean, usually usually fashionable, oftentimes I don't like the fashionable thing. I'm a hipster, right? So I don't like the fashionable thing. Yeah, proper hipster, right here. So if that's the fashion, I don't like it. I don't think it's a causal relationship, though. Maybe it is. I don't know. Alright. Soon he sank into deep thought, or more accurately, speaking into a complete blankness of mind. I like that. Speaking into a complete blankness of mind. I like that. I do that. I've never thought of it like that, but I do that. Just letting the mind wander. Speaking into a complete blankness of mind. I like that. He walked along, not observing what was about him and not caring to observe it. From time to time, he would mutter something from the habit of talking to himself, to which he had just confessed. At these moments, he would become conscious that his ideas were sometimes in a tangle and that he was weak. For 2 days, he had scarcely tasted food. Alright, he's handsome and fucking poor. Fucking poor, eh? And like super poor. He owes debts and depressed. And he's talking himself like he's on the verge of snapping, right? He's gonna snap. He's talking himself into, well, doing something illegal maybe is not... It paints a picture, right? So far it looks like he might snap. That's what's gonna happen, but he is talking himself into something. Probably stealing... Yeah, stealing the money. He has an idea. He's fantasizing about stealing a lot of money to solve his... Yeah, crime is the solution. Actually, if you're depressed from being poor, then stealing is, I mean, it's a good idea for you, right? If you haven't tasted food for 2 days because you're so poor you can't get your hand on food, then stealing food is a good idea. Right? That's not a dumb idea at all, stealing food. He was so badly dressed that even a man accustomed to shabbiness would have been ashamed to be seen in the street in such rags. In that quarter of town, however, scarcely any shortcomings in dress would have created surprise. Owing to the proximity of the Haymarket, the number of establishments of bad character, the preponderance of the trading and the working class. Preponderance. Yeah, I really need a dictionary, like a pop-out dictionary. Something, just making this easy on myself, because there's a lot of words that I would want to just... I like that. Dictionary. That's to do. Let's see. Blasphemous says, quote, Adsider says it is good to steal food. I say it makes sense for people to steal food if they're hungry. Also, it's ad quote blasphemous. Not quote ad. Now you just got a quote, and the quote is, everything was beautiful and nothing hurt. That's the quote. Banana Waffle Monkey says, I'm the dictionary. Yeah, but you're too slow, right? I would want, like, just a quick press of the button, and I would, like, get a... Yeah, doing this in the reader. Maybe this? I don't know where it went. This probably, the EPY, the command line ebook. The preponderance of the trading and working class population crowded in the streets and alleys in the heart of Petersburg. Types so various were to be seen in the streets that no figure, however queer, would have caused surprise. Well, that's nice. I mean, like, everything is terrible, but it's fine that no one looking any way would cause surprise. But in that kind of context, a lot more people, like, cause surprise, it's when you notice someone who's very different. That's when they're in a weak spot, right? But there was such accumulated bitterness and contempt in the young man's heart that in spite of all the fastidiousness of youth, he minded his rags least of all in the street. Oh, he didn't care, alright. It was a different matter when he met with acquaintances or with former fellow students, whom indeed he disliked meeting at any time. Yeah, that makes sense. You care more about people who you meet repeatedly. Blasphemous says, exclamation point, dictionary. Yeah, I'm gonna get a dictionary. Somewhere in here. But that's for me, not for you. And yet when a drunken man who for some unknown reason was being taken somewhere in a huge wagon, dragged by a heavy dray horse, suddenly shouted at him as he drove past, "Hey there, German hatter." Bawling at the top of his voice and pointing at him, the young man stopped suddenly and clutched tremulously at his hat. It was a tall, round hat from Zimmermann's. Oh, it was a German hat then. But completely worn out, rusty with age, all torn and bespattered, brimless and bent on one side in a most unseemly fashion. No shame, however, but quite another feeling akin to terror had overtaken him. Terror? Wait, I didn't get... What's with the terror? I knew it, he muttered in confusion. I thought so. That's the worst of all. Why a stupid thing like this? The most trivial detail might spoil the whole plan. Oh, right. He's doing crime and he was recognized. That's the terror. All right. The not being private, the not being anonymous is the terror. Yes, my hat is too noticeable. It looks absurd and that makes it noticeable. With my rags, I ought to wear a cap. Any sort of old pancake. But not this grotesque thing. Nobody wears such a hat. It could be noticed for a mile off. It would be remembered. What matters is that people would remember it. And that would give them a clue. For this business, one should be as little conspicuous as possible. Trifles are what matter. Why, it's just such trifles that always ruin everything. Yeah. Thinking like an engineer, eh? That makes sense, right? He was an engineer, thinking like an engineer. Or Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, let's adapt to it. Alright. Do we have... Is this a good stopping point? Yeah, not far to go. Yeah, this is a good stopping point for lunch. Alright. So yeah, I've got a long to-do list now, so we'll see what'll be done for tomorrow. So far, I kind of enjoy reading the book. We haven't got far at all, but what do you say? You feel excited for Crime and Punishment, or no? Man off like it says, yeah. Nice. It feels good. Yeah, I'll probably keep doing this for at least a week. Then we can have a feel how it feels. Probably I just get stuck in my routines. But Anna Wolfman says, I've been meaning to read more Russian authors, and I don't have the energy to read myself, so I appreciate this. Great stuff. Yeah, I don't have the energy to read myself either, and I've been meaning to read this book for a long time. So I appreciate this as well. Alright. But, yeah. Thanks for hanging out today, and thanks for helping out with the bot. Trying it out, adding the... Yeah, doing all the things. The bot is in beta, for sure. Yeah. Days are full. Lastman says, I tend to fall asleep when I am not reading something on a screen. Oh, you mean reading a book? You tend to fall asleep? Oh, that's a good trick. It all blends together because most people in the chat have been talking about sleeping issues. Isn't that great then? Reading a book as a trick to falling asleep? That's a great trick. Great trick indeed. I was remembering correctly. Actually, I didn't remember your specific issue though. Just my minds go to falling asleep as the issue because that's my sleeping issues that I have always had has been falling asleep, not during sleep. Maybe your issues were... That's what it says. Except when I want to e-learn. Just learn by reading. Learn. There we go. Yeah, no, it says... Yeah. Except for when I want to learn by reading. All reading is learning, no? Just, it's a degree thing, I guess. Banana Waffle Monkey says, I try to listen to videos on YouTube about things that bore me. I either learn something or get to bed. Yeah, I usually do that with YouTube as well. Actually, lately I've been I don't even use stuff. Like the last couple of weeks, I haven't used anything. Not anything, just the darkness. Just the darkness, just turning everything off and going to bed. It's been interesting. Alright, but it's lunchtime and yeah, see you next time. Cheers!